Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Rob's Little Blue Book. And I'm pretty excited about this week because I finally tracked down an artisanal cola, so we can finally do something I've been wanting to do for a little while, and that is talk about a rum and coke or Cuba Libre. So we're finally going to do that. I'm going to start with that because I'm kind of excited about it. For those of you who don't know the difference between a rum and coke and a Cuba Libre, there really isn't much of a difference. Rum and coke doesn't normally have lime. If you go into a bar and order a rum and coke, you're going to get rum and coke. Technically, a Cuba Libre has lime in it. The drink originated around 1900, I guess, during the Spanish-American War, when I think the Americans were trying to liberate Cuba. Anyway, apparently an American guy in the army down there poured Bacardi and lime into his coke and drank a toast to the bar, pour Cuba Libre to a free Cuba. And we had the drink. And it stuck around for a long time. One of the reasons it stuck around for so long is because it has Coca-Cola and Bacardi behind it for advertising. But the drink really was Bacardi rum originally and Coca-Cola. So one of the questions that I always sort of want to ask when this happens is the because Coca-Cola is an iconic taste. People who drink Coke know what it tastes like. There's no such thing as a Pepsi and Coke. So it's like Hellman's mayonnaise or French's mustard. Like, people expect that kind of taste. And is it going to be a better drink if we elevate the ingredients? And I hope so. We're going to find out. So this is also a really good drink. It's just a good all-around drink. It's a great party drink. It's got caffeine in it. It's got sugar in it. It's a great dive bar drink. If you go into a dive bar, they're going to have rum on the rail. They're going to have Coke on the little nozzle thing, and you're going to get a halfway decent cocktail. This is assuming that it's not so divey that you're only going to order something that you actually see them open, like a bottle of beer or something. But assuming you're like one level up on the dive scale, this is a pretty safe drink to order. And it's refreshing, and it's not a heavy cocktail. Because you'll see it's about 2 ounces. Well, anywhere between 1 ounce and 2 ounces of spirit and 3 to 4 ounces of Coke. You can make it any way you want. So let's get on that because I'm really curious. So the first one we're going to make, I'm going to do two. We're going to do a taste test. I've got 2 highball glasses here. I have my mixer. And the first one we're going to make with Bacardi white rum, just like the original. This is pretty straightforward. I got Coke here and a little bit of lime juice. So I'm going to go with 1.5 ounces of Bacardi. And we are going to go with 1/2 ounce of lime juice is about right. Again, as with all these cocktails, make them your own. But this seems like a good place to start. And I'm going to say 4 ounces of Coke, which is probably just going to top it off. You can kind of freehand this one. And there you go. I mean, this isn't rocket science, right? So I'm going to taste this, and then we're going to move on to the next one. I mean, it tastes like a rum and coke. It's good. The lime really makes all the difference in this drink. You really need to use fresh lime juice for a rum and coke. It really adds a lot to Cuba Libre, I guess. Adds a lot to the cocktail. But that's good. This is a good all-around cocktail. You can drink this at night in a dance club. You can drink it on a patio during the day. Like, never going to be disappointed in that. Okay, now, the question is, can we improve it? So I finally found insanely expensive cola. This is Boland's Cane Cola, which according to them is derived from the oils of orange, lemon, and lime with hints of nutmeg, coriander, and lavender. I really hope it's good. This is actually more expensive than beer. A lot more. Anyway, we're going to try this. And for our rum, we are going to use one of my favorites, Flor de Cana. Hope I pronounced that right. This is a wonderful dark rum, 12 years old. Uh, Nothing more to say about that. Just this is a fantastic rum. You could just sip on its own. Almost ashamed to put Coke in it, but we're going to. You can make an old fashioned with this. All kinds of wonderful things. I'm gonna go with another again, 1.5 ounces. And 1/2 ounce of lime. I gotta say, guys, I'm really curious. And we're gonna top it with our liquid gold here. Cheers, guys. And that is much, much better. It's a significant difference. It really is. It really elevates this. I mean, I'm not sure a rum and coke needed to be elevated in the first place. But wow, that is just delicious. Okay, I'm gonna temporarily drop these off to Serena for a taste test because I want to hear what her feedback is. So I got Coke in the left hand, cane coal on the right. I'll be right back. I'm coming back for one. Okay, on with the show. Hey Nick, did you catch the rum and coke thing? I'm gonna go back and get one when Serena decides which one she prefers. I'm waiting for her feedback. And then we're gonna talk about Arancini, which I'm also super excited about. I've been waiting to do this for ages as well, and there's a lot of prep in Arancini. We're going to be a little bit of time travel, TV time tonight to make it stream friendly. And the first thing we're going to do is, well, okay, I'm going to recap real quick for Nick because he's getting exercise, doing the good thing. We made 2 rum and cokes, basically. Well, okay. We made 2 rum and cokes. We made one with cheap-ass Bacardi and Coke. And then we made the second one with Florida Cana and the cane cola. So there you go. That's the cane cola. Well, since you don't like them, I'm coming back. I'll be right back, guys. Okay, so in retrospect, guys, I probably should have had somebody who actually likes cola give me a second opinion, but I'll tell you, I think this makes a big difference. Definitely going to finish this one first. Okay, let's talk about Arancini, what it is and what it isn't. Thank you for trying, Serena. I really appreciate it. Okay, Arancini is obviously an Italian dish. It's a deep fried rice ball with a filling. And the filling, I mean, Nick, if you want to trek over, but don't come over before the stream's done. It is, deep fried rice ball with a filling. And you can make this your own. There's a whole bunch of different ways to do it, but I'm going to tell you what arancini is not. What arancini is not is risotto wrapped around mozzarella and deep fried. That is a croquette, and there's nothing wrong with it, but it is not arancini. So we're going to make real arancini tonight, and where arancini starts to get different than risotto, for example. So you still use arborio rice, and I'm going to have to just tell you guys how to make the rice because I had to time travel to do it. It's already done, and we're going to get to that in a sec. But it's really simple. You're going to still use arborio rice, the same rice you use for risotto, except you're just going to cook it like regular rice. I sauteed up a bunch of onion, like it's not a bunch, a little bit of onion in olive oil, and I cooked this in vegetable stock, and I threw in a ton of butter. But you can prepare it just the way it says in the package. You don't have to do anything fancy. So let me just let's do the little time travel thing, and I will be right back with the rice. Okay, I'm back. 88 miles an hour, right? So this is what it looks like. And what you're going to do in your rice, with your rice, when it's done, is spread it on a sheet pan. And I grated a bunch of parm and pecorino over the top. So while it's warm, grate the cheese over, let it sit at room temperature for about an hour, and then throw it in the fridge for as long as you want. Well, not a couple of weeks, but definitely a couple of hours. So that's how you do your rice. Any questions on how to prepare the rice? I'm sorry I can't show you how to do this on stream. You could probably do arborio in your rice cooker. I did mine on the stovetop, but this is what you want. So what you don't want is creamy risotto rice. You want something that's actually pretty dry, and this is what you get. I think I threw in some tomato paste here too, which is why it's a little pink. So there you go. Now what I will show you guys is how to make the filling, which is what we're going to do next. I'm actually going to put this somewhere else. And we're going to do the filling. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a, Serena, it is a little bit solid, but it does come up. It does come up. You'll see when we actually make the balls, it'll work. It's not particularly sticky, Rebecca. And you'll see when we put this together, it almost looks like the ball is not going to go together. It is not sticky at all. And when you first assemble it, you're going to think, like, I'm just going to make, like, a weird rice ragu snowball, and it's not going to work. But it does. Okay, let's talk ragu. We are doing a ground beef ragu. I'm using, actually, lean sirloin, which is on sale. But this is actually a place you can use lean beef. There are occasionally places where lean meat is better. And this is one of them. So let's get this started. Rusty burner. And I wanted to do the ragu with you guys because this sort of illustrates a couple of techniques here, because every cuisine has their version of like a mixed vegetable base starter. Okay. In Italian, it's a sofrito, which is onions, carrots, and celery. In France, in French cooking, it's a mirepoix, which is the same three ingredients but in slightly different quantities. Mexican cooking has their own version, which I forget. But yeah, every cuisine will have sort of a vegetable flavor base. It is ground sirloin. Yeah. It was on sale at Farm Boy. You could use regular ground beef here too. They just happened to have this on sale, so I thought I would take it up a notch. But no bam. Okay, so we're just gonna heat the oil here, and then I'm gonna add my sofrito ingredients. And this should take about 7 or 8 minutes, maybe even longer. We're gonna crank the heat a little bit here, just because I don't want to be doing this all night. And you can do obviously you do them all at the same time. When you are dicing these up, try and get them like more or less the same size so that they cook at the same rate. Okay, any questions on this? This part's actually relatively straightforward. Some of the other ingredients that we're going to use in the ragu are some peas because they're good, tomato paste to thicken it up a bit, and I'm going to rip in some basil because why not? The mozzarella here is buffalo mozzarella. It's going to be for our filling later, and the eggs, of course, are for later too. No garlic, not in this one. If you were making this ragu for something else, you might want to use garlic, but it's not, I don't think it's the right flavor here. But if you like garlic and you wanted to, no reason not to. You can fill these with any combination of meats, vegetables, and cheeses that you like. It would be really good with, I'm going to use mozzarella, but you could also use provolone, you could use ricotta. Feta might be weird, but I mean, if you like feta, give it a shot. You could make it like a nice roasted sauteed mushroom filling would be really good. Probably not seafood. That would be weird. Really good. Really good. I'm really enjoying this one. You guys can see okay. I keep moving my food camera around so that I'm always like ducking my head under it. I've got it like a little further back. The angle looks weird now. Yeah, it's colorful, isn't it? It's almost a shame you have to like pack it into the middle of the rice ball. So we're going to be eating arancini for quite a while. A crab arancini. Okay, I mean, why not? What else is in it, Rebecca? Like, what goes with the crab? I mean, I guess seafood risotto is a thing, so there's no reason you couldn't have a crab arancini. I knew as soon as I said it was going to be weird that somebody really famous has like a specialty version of it. Okay, I actually have to slow this down just a little bit. You do want it's fine if you're sauteing vegetables and you're in a hurry like I am, just because I'm on stream, take your time a little bit. They will develop flavor. You do want to go slow. If you're doing this at home, oh yeah, that makes sense. If you're doing this at home, let the flavors develop. You know, give your veggies some color. Go slow. So we're just gonna kind of like do this by feel. Like tomato sauce for it. Okay. Any other questions on mirepoix? What we're starting with here? Not mirepoix, this sofrito. You can also, if you have time, and I've done this before, you can do a sofrito like in olive oil. Well, this is obviously in olive oil, but you can do it like a confit. You can put it in a shallow dish, and your veggies in the dish, and put it in the oven at 200 for 3 or 4 hours, and just let them roast, or even longer, like as long as you want, really. You can get a wonderful depth of flavor that way as well. I do that with an onion sofrito, which I use for my homemade ramen, for like the soup base. It's really good. Okay, I kind of feel that we're at where we want here. So our vegetables are softened. They got a little bit of color. Feeling good about this. In goes the meat. Come on. Now, ideally, I'd have a slightly wider pan for this, I think. You do want to make sure you break up the beef, because it's going to be a filling, so it has to get quite fine. In a larger pan, you're going to be able to get more of a browning. This is going to be okay because I'm going to constantly stir it, but you would have to stir it less if you had a big, like a 12-inch cast iron skillet, for example. Because you don't really want this to steam, right? We want to add some color. I got the heat up. We want to get this brown, not gray. And at this point, we can introduce a little salt into her. It's a good idea. I could have even have salted the veggies as I was going. Good idea to salt, season as you go. Again, if you're doing something that's going to reduce a lot, be careful because you can over salt it because it's going to reduce down. But this doesn't reduce, right? So. Okay. You can see we're starting to lose the pink already. We do want to take this past, we do want to go past the just like pink stage. We actually want to develop a little color on this. And I think I want to add a little bit of pepper in this too, just for a little flavor, a little kick. So let's get that going. And this is actually going relatively quickly, which I'm happy about. Okay, so once we get to this point, not quite, I just want to go a little bit more, and then I'm going to turn the heat down, and we are going to add a couple other things here. Okay. So now, peas. And I'm just gonna, you can chop your basil if you want, but it's really easy just to like tear it up. Tearing it's kind of nice because it you know, releases some of the oils in the basil leaves as you are ripping the pieces off. Don't want to go crazy with it. Probably have a little bit much here. Probably about enough. Get that going. There's going to be a good slug of tomato paste, which will also add some nice umami flavors. You can't have probably too much tomato paste in this. It can take a fair whack. And then finally, a little bit of water. So I'm adding a little bit the trick here is, so this is going to go on the burner for about 20 minutes just to cook and simmer. And you want to make sure that it doesn't dry out. You don't want it soupy because it needs to be a filling, right? So it's the kind of thing you check every 5 minutes. And I can already see I want a little more water just to start even. So keep it damp, and then if you get towards the end of your cooking time and it's a little bit damp, just let some of the water boil off. Really I hope you guys can see all the friendly colors in there. That is our ragu. Very straightforward. So this is actually going to go on the burner here for about 20 minutes. I'll leave this at a timer. Okay, any questions on that little bit? That seemed pretty easy, didn't it? I think it was pretty easy. Okay, so as I said, we don't really have 20 minutes to wait for that, so give me a sec. And I'm back. So here you go, guys. So I spread it on the same kind of sheet pan to cool it off. You could cool it in a bowl. It cools easier like this because there's more surface area. This is what it looks like when it's done. We got our ragu, and we have our rice, and we need somewhere to put the arancini when we roll them up, which is going to be here. So I'm going to show you guys how to make a couple. I'm not going to do a ton of these because I have some, of course, ready to go. It's cute, eh? My little splash screen. Okay, as I said before though, you want your hands wet for this. I'm gonna have a bowl here to get my hands wet. Any questions before we assemble these? Does this make sense to everybody, how we're going here? We've got our cheese as well. Okay, here we go. So the trick here is, first of all, don't stress about this, because I'll tell you, when you first start this, you're going to be like, it is not going to work. You can see this rice is not sticky. This is honestly kind of just magic to me. But you take your rice and you make a little pocket. I hope you guys can see. Oops, see what's going on here. Your little pocket, and you can see it's like the rice isn't really sticky. You're like, how is this even going to be a thing? And then not only that, now we have our little rice pocket. We're going to put way too much filling in it. Okay, so I got a good slug of filling here. We are not filling wontons or tortellini here. We are like packing it in there, and how's that going to work, right? Look at that. But we're going to add some cheese. We're going to add a lot of cheese. There we go. I mean, there's no way, right? How's that going to work? Okay, once you get to this point and you're freaking out, get another good slug of rice just in your hand, mold it on top, give it a good squish. So now we're going for the ball. And we are just going to, you can tuck your filling in as you go around. Feel free to add a little rice if it doesn't seem like you're getting good coverage. You're really going to give this a squeeze. So this is not like making meatballs, where you would never squeeze a meatball like this, because you would end up with this like little nugget of grossness. But in this particular case, we're just going to squeeze it around and there. And then somehow it turns into like this wonderful little rice ball with a nice filling in it. So, any questions? The basil was directly into the ragu, Rebecca. Now I saved a few pieces because it's nice to have a little piece as a garnish. You'll see when I do the presentation. But yeah, no, it's right in the ragu. Okay, so just in case you don't believe me, we're going to do that again. Any questions? So, scoop up some rice that's not sticky. And you just make the patty in your hand. It's like a burger patty almost. Now I am pushing it down here, right? But it's still not particularly, this isn't like sushi rice or anything like that. Then get too much filling, like really go to town with the filling. Never gonna work. And now that you have too much filling, get too much cheese. Trina will tell you can't have too much cheese. We're really pushing the limits of this one. Okay, there you go. Too much filling, too much cheese. You got your rice patty in the palm of your hand, and you just grab a big handful of this, and it just goes on top. And I'm gonna tuck these in as we go. I can see here I need a little more rice coverage. You can see these corners there. Come on. There. Get some good compression. Making a diamond here. Arancini diamond. It's okay if your filling's like sticking at the side just a little bit. Maybe pack it in there. Take the rice cube out. And there you go. Again, it just forms up into this wonderful big ball of deliciousness. And who doesn't like big balls, right? Okay. So there you go. So any questions on this process? I'm going to make up the rest of these later rather than do a whole bunch of arancini balls in front of you, because I want to move on to the actual cooking, because I'm also really hungry. But that's kind of the process. So I know we had sort of a accelerated experience with putting these together and prepping the ragu and everything, but it is pretty simple. This isn't the thing you're going to throw together though on a weeknight. I mean, you can, but there's steps you have to take during the day. Now, these can go in the fridge overnight, but they have to go in the fridge for at least a couple hours. Like you know, the longer the better, but not less than 2 hours. Because, and don't cover them. You put them in the fridge just like this. The fridge auto defrosting. I didn't get a haircut, Alyssa. That's it. I mean, I don't have a ponytail. When was the last time you saw me? Anyway, any self-defrosting fridge, and this is a good trick actually, especially in the freezer, will draw moisture out of whatever's inside. So we actually want these to dry out a little bit. So these are going to go in the fridge, and then we're going to wait 3 or 4 hours at least, and then we're going to come back to it. So a little more time travel. And I'm back. There you go. So, oh yeah, then I have had a haircut. It's actually getting long again. Okay, so these are nice. These feel amazing. Nice. I don't say firm balls, but anyway, you guys get the idea. Now they still have to be breaded and deep fried. So that's going to be the next step. I'm going to take a short breather here. I kind of feel like I'm going a million miles an hour. I'm kind of amped today. I had a headache earlier, and one of the things that helps my headaches is coffee, but I might have had too much coffee. I don't think so, Serena. If they were wildly different sizes, then I would be concerned about them cooking. But they don't really cook, but I would be concerned with them frying different times. But I think these are pretty solid. So those are the arancini balls, and there's 2 ways you can bread them. So you can, if you were in a restaurant, you'd be using a pastella, which is a flour-water mixture. It's like a really thin, it's not really a batter, it's just a really thin mixture of flour and water. And you would go flour and water into your breadcrumbs. By the way, guys, I love panko, but this is not the place for panko. These are fresh breadcrumbs if you can get them. I don't have fresh. These are Italian breadcrumbs. They're delicious. This is not the place for panko. There is a time and a place for panko. This is not it. Now, a restaurant won't use eggs because eggs are expensive. But the eggs are really nice, and they give a really nice crust. So I'm going to use eggs. You can choose what you want. But honestly, like, for all the effort you go to, like, splurge on a couple of eggs. It's not going to kill you. So yeah, just 2 eggs. Okay. Lightly beaten. I have no idea, by the way, what lightly beaten means for eggs. But I'm going to go with that. Now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to dredge them, and I'm going to put them right back on the thing here. And again, we seem to run into this over and over and over on the stream, the whole dry hand, wet hand thing for dredging and breading things. If anybody ever figures that out, please let me know. But I'm just going to I'm going to try and do wet hand, dry hand. Wax on, wax off. Anyway, this part is really straightforward. We just want to get our all covered up in yolk. And then into the breadcrumbs. And you could roll it around, but quite frankly, just tossing them seems to do the trick. You know, use my dry hand. And there you go. Ready for the deep fryer. Wet hand. Get a good toss, good little spin there. Two down. And I'm going to do this one, even though I probably won't get around to eating this one tonight, but I have no idea if these reheat well. It's been a long time since I made these, and in getting ready for tonight's stream, I learned a lot about arancini that I didn't know before, so I'm going with my old techniques, but also adopting a whole bunch of things that I learned as the science of arancini relentlessly advances. Okay. Any questions? Feel like no. Oops. Feel like no. Okay. So I do have to check and make sure our deep fryer is up to temperature, and then we are going to fry these up. They look great, don't they? I wish you guys could see them. They just look so good here. Alright, let's go 1 sec, guys. Checking the temperature. And we were right on the money. You want to be frying these. Sorry guys, give me a sec. You want to be frying these at about 355 degrees, your oil temperature. So if you have a deep fryer, set it for 355. If you don't, and you're using a pot, you can deep fry these in a pot, no problem. Make sure your oil is at least 350. With Italian breadcrumbs, so panko's a lot more forgiving of high oil temperatures. With the Italian breadcrumbs, you don't want to go crazy on the oil temperature. You do have to be a little bit mindful. And these are going to take 5 minutes and 55 seconds each, I think. Wow, these are so big. They don't actually, they just sit down in my oil. I actually have to add oil. Okay, so don't do this at home, guys, because I'm overfilling my, give me a sec. I'm overfilling my deep fryer past the little line that says do not pass. So don't do that at home, especially if you're frying something other than arancini. I would never do that if I was doing French fries or something like that. Kind of expected more sizzle, but this is the thing, because they dried out in the fridge. There's not a lot of water in them anymore. So like fries, when you put fries in the deep fryer, they just make all the noise, which you guys all know because I use a shotgun mic and it just drowns everything out. This is actually kind of sedate even. Oh, I just had to set the timer. We'll check that in about 5 minutes and 55 seconds. So any questions? I'm going to continue on my yummy raw. Oh, it's almost gone too. I highly recommend this, guys. That was really good. Okay, so the reason I put more oil in the deep fryer is the arancini balls are so big that they don't fully submerge in the oil. It was like this much sticking out. So I added a bit of oil to cover the top of the ball. And I'll skip the obvious oil your balls joke. Yes, it's all for science, Alyssa. Okay, so this actually turned out to be, I think, relatively straightforward. I'll show you how I like to serve them, and maybe I'll just do them on the smaller piece. This is a place where yes, Nick, you're correct. It's nice, you know. Sometimes you just need to get away with something. Anyway, it doesn't seem to be hurting anything, and they're cooking away. We'll get into a little presentation here. I'm just trying to pick a couple of nice little bay leaves for the garnish top. Not that one though. There we go. Here's a little piece on top when they come out. So the way I like to serve these is, I mean, you can just take the ball and eat it. But what I've done here is I'll show you guys. This is, I made up a little, like, this is just a very basic tomato sauce. And we'll put a little pool of this on the plate and maybe dab on top. And we'll probably, I'm going to grate some pecorino over top of the whole thing. It's kind of my plan for finishing it. They look almost done, which just can't be, because, yeah. Then we'll have to go a little bit longer. Basil is basil. I don't think you can eat bay leaves. They're kind of poisonous. So this is basil. Did I say bay leaves? If I did say bay leaves, I'm sorry. I meant basil. Hi, Penny. We have our microplane for grating. I mean, these look... I really want to make sure the cheese is nice and melted inside. I'm going to let them get a little bit dark. You guys can't see. The color on the outside looks really good. It's even getting a bit dark, but I'm worried that the inside is not going to be warmed through. So we're going to let it go another minute. Maybe not, actually. Is that the 2-minute mark? Okay. I mean, sometimes Serena seems as good as you get. I kind of feel like this is done. Okay. So let's dot up the plates. So I just want, this is, by the way, we're not like saucing the whole dish here. This is more just for a little flavor, little decoration, a little presentation. And probably this is a better way to do it. We've got our, I hope you guys can see. And I want a little bit on the top here. I'm just gonna put like just a little dab on top. Bay leaf for luck. Bay leaf. I said it again. Basil leaf for luck. There, that's one. Take the other one out. Okay, that was aggressive. Go to my, here we are. Little bay leaf for, I said it again. I don't know what it is tonight. Penny put bay leaf into my head, but these are basil. There you go. So I'm gonna take one of these to Serena. These are also, by the way, hotter than the sun right now. So I am going to wait just a second before we dive in, but I'll be right back. Okay. Fair enough, Penny. I know I started it, but now it's like, it's a feedback loop. I'm not blaming Penny. Oh my God. Okay, I can't wait. I'm really hungry. And is my cheese melted? Not quite. Okay. I have a feeling. Wow, this just came apart. Ooh. Okay. Cheese is inside. Oh, you're right, Melissa. I forgot to create a cheese over it. Better late than never. Little pecorino. Okay, it's hot. But I will say that I think that wow, it's really good. But the filling, is warm enough to eat. It's not piping hot. And the mozzarella, while it's melted, isn't like liquid and gooey. Hot. Wow, it's really good. So, hope you guys can see this. Couple things here. There's a lot of rice. And even though I put heaping amounts of filling in, oh, actually, no, never mind. I got into a thick part. Okay, so let's critique this. It tastes amazing. However, I think these balls could have been smaller because the outside is like ripping hot, but the inside is not as hot as I want it to be. It still shouldn't be warm enough to eat. Wow. Outside's hot. Wow. Okay, I love the flavor. But I do think that if I'm going to keep working on this recipe, and it's tricky because you have to like seal the filling. But I think looking at this, I could have gone with a like a thinner a thinner rice layer outside. I feel like there's an imbalance between the filling and the surrounding rice. And that's partly, oh, sorry guys, this cam? It's partly because I wanted to make sure that the filling was completely encapsulated. I didn't want any deep fryer accidents. It's been a while since I've done these. Wow, good though. But I'm very, very happy with this turned out. Okay, so this is just good. This is amazing comfort food. Like this is everything you want in a comfort food. It's like fried, yummy goodness. Rice and a little bit of meat and some veg. It's like a complete meal. I would have left it in longer next time, and I will leave it in longer next time. But I was worried, like, oh, you guys can see. I'm going to go back to the camera just for a sec. Is that my breading was getting quite dark. I didn't want to burn it. So I think that's one of the things that you need to experiment if you're going to make this dish, is that your ball has to be small enough to heat all the way through before the breading on the outside burns. There you go. Well, guys, that is kind of all I have for you tonight. Thank you for joining me. I know this seems like a lot of work to go to, maybe. But it's really not. I did this over the course of the day. Prep the rice. A lot of it's fire and forget. Like, it's easy to put the rice in on the stovetop for 20 minutes. It doesn't require any attention. And as you saw, assembling them isn't hard. It takes a little bit. Well, there you go. That's where we're at. So, see you, Nick. I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to hang around for a couple of questions. I'm going to eat a little bit more of this. But I'm really happy with the way it turned out. But I think that there is more work to be done here. This isn't one of those things I've made like a million times. This is more of a experiment with Rob Knight. But I'm very happy. This is something I will be continuing with. It's good comfort food. I would be happy to eat that if I was sick. So, okay, any more questions? I'm going to hang around for a couple minutes, but that's all I have for you tonight. And we're in under an hour, which is kind of where I want to be for time. So, as always, thanks for coming out, guys. Love doing this for you. We can talk a little bit about next week if anybody has any ideas or things they want done. I've kind of completed my short-term list, I think, of things that I wanted to do. So I am once again open for suggestions. I am enjoying Italian, so I'm always happy to dig up something Italian that I haven't done in a little while. I don't think we need to repeat. We've never done pasta alla gricia, so we could do that. And there's some of the more contemporary. I was like, does anybody like penne alla vodka? I keep seeing that in restaurants, and I've ordered it a few times, and I'm always disappointed. But I'm wondering if there's more to that recipe than you get in a restaurant. So I might explore that a little bit. But that's it. That's all I got for you tonight. So everybody have an amazing night. Enjoy your week. I have a short week. I'm off Friday. Just about every Friday anyway. So everybody else take care. Stay safe. Be well. And we'll see you next week.